Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the Portland Trail Blazers versus the San Antonio Spurs. Full game highlights, analysis, reaction, and review. Let's jump right into it. I want to quickly say I hope Nasir Little has a speedy recovery and a strong recovery. I haven't mentioned yet, but I'm sure everybody's aware that he fractured his hip about a month ago. Maybe it probably wasn't a full month, probably about 3 weeks ago. Maybe not even 3 weeks. But anyway, I hope he gets better fast, man. He was contributing good off the bench, and I know he's gonna miss being out there with the guys and seeing how the guys are progressing and developing. I know he wants to be out there doing the same thing. But let's jump into it. Now, Nurk was out here dropping dimes. I mean, again, I mentioned last video, man, that I'm impressed with the way Nurk has been growing more comfortable with what with what Coach Billups wants him to do out there. I mean, be Nurk, you know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness, Drew, nice. But understand how to do what we want you to do in regards to, oh my goodness, did he go get it? Did he go get it? Shaden, I can fly, man. In regards to what's needed on this ball club, because as you can see, this team can get up and down, man. There's not going to be a lot of times where they're going to slow down on purpose, you know. And even when they do, that's for Dame and Ant, you know what I'm saying? So, but this team can get out and go. As we see Ant finish right there strong. And that's another thing I wanted to mention. The guys played strong. You can see a tendency developing in guys taking the ball, particularly this game with Jakob Poeltl out. You can tell that the guys were definitely going to take it inside and finish strong, knowing that it wasn't a whole lot of opposition at the rim, as we see Jeremy Grant knock down that three. I mentioned last game how Jeremy Grant has become much more consistent with that shot. Not having to get volume, not having to take a lot of shots in order to make shots. Good job for Jeremy Grant, man. Another guy who's impressive to watch, as we just saw Drew Eubanks with a nice finish, finger roll style. Turnovers there. Turnovers really hurt. Again, I shouldn't say really hurt, but it was a lot of turnovers. But I want to say that this team is getting on the level. Now, this is the Spurs, who are definitely rebuilding. And Jakob Poeltl wasn't there. But nice finish from Dame. But this particular game, even though we were winning the whole game, there were some mistakes made. But a good team, a great team, plays above their mistakes. You know, the mistakes don't kill them. You know what I'm saying? And look, right there, as I'm speaking, you know, as we see Dame turn it over. And Dame had a couple turnovers. And you can see Dame did not like having those turnovers either. Dame does not like turning the ball over nice. And I'll get to that point right there about him and Ant. Dame does not like turning the ball over, and I like that. I mean, he's accountable. He takes responsibility. You see so many guys do that and then point and look at their teammate like, oh, you know, what happened? They're looking at what you mean, what happened? It was a bad pass. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate the way Dame, man, is such a good leader out there as far as taking responsibility on things. And I know his teammates appreciate that, as we see Jeremy Grant with another strong finish. You know, the guys have been playing strong. I didn't see Jeremy Grant do any flop mopping this game. Now, I could be wrong, because I did miss half of the third quarter. So I could be wrong, but I didn't see him do any flop mopping. As you see Nurk over there trying to hide. Man, I mean, I'm going to just do a video about Dame, a separate video, but I mean, who shoots better with his feet, you know, hips and shoulders square under him like that? I don't know anybody that shoots better with in that instance. You know what I'm saying? And his feet don't always have to be square, but when he gets his shoulders, look at when he gets his shoulders and hips square, he doesn't miss, as we see Ant. And Ant, the young Padawan, is learning well from the Jedi Knight. And that's just a joke because they had something about the lightsabers for the team and who would be a good lightsaber fighter or whatever. But yeah, Ant's doing a good job of following in Dame's footsteps as far as once he's squared up, man. The percentages of the shot going in are pretty high. And that brings me to my point that I was talking about earlier, that I wanted to mention earlier about Ant and Dame playing together, man. I mean, and it's, ooh, nice. Again, Nurk with the passing, guys. He's getting comfortable, and he knows where guys are going to be. And that's what I was saying earlier, man. I mean, you got to be patient. And, you know, Coach Billups knows what he's doing. I know people think, oh, he's a new coach. It's quote-unquote first time, you know, head coach. Chauncey's been around, guys. He's been around a long time. He's been around a lot of coaches. He's been around the game. He's been around the front office. He's been around, man. Golly. He knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? You just got to give it time. And as you can see from the guys figuring it out, man, you know, they look better and better. Of course, they're going to make some mistakes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. See, that's going to make me start rewinding. That's going to make me start, but we'll see. I know I'm going to have that as a highlight later on. But, my goodness. But Dame and Ant together, excuse me. Wow. As we see Dame squared up. But Dame and Ant together is very dangerous. And I know they want to have those two on the floor together as much as possible. But Dame is such a monster on his own. Like, I don't want to take away from Dame. I thought about that after last game when I kept talking about Dame and Ant being the two-headed monster. Dame is a monster on his own. You know what I'm saying? I want to give him that respect. Nice finish right there by Drew. Oh, my goodness. Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. That was nice. But him and Ant together is really dangerous, and I know they want to keep them on the floor as much as possible. But it's also really good, as we saw in this game, when Ant's out there with that second unit. You know what I'm saying? Ant can get out there and do his thing, for real. Can do his thing. And then you can still have him and Dame out there together, you know what I'm saying, and be dangerous and explosive and all of those things that we can be. As we see Dame and Nurk right there with the two-man game. Nice finish by Nurk. So... oh, nice by Dame. My goodness, Dame's passing was on point this game as well. I want to make sure I say that. Dame's passing was definitely on point. And again, I know I was thinking about that as soon as I saw this turnover getting ready to happen. I was going to say, even with the turnovers, I was like, I know that was about 3. So Dame probably had about 3 or 4. But even with the turnovers, as we see Ant squared up, knocking that down, Dame's passing was really, the team's passing, and let's just say that, as we see Nurk with another dime. And the passing will continue to get better as far as, hopefully, cutting down on the turnovers, because we know Justice Winslow has good vision, is a good passer. He might not be great, a pinpoint passer, but he's a really good pocket passer. We've seen what Ant can do as a playmaker. You know, Dame's passing is extremely underrated. Extremely. We've seen what Trendon Watford can do as a playmaker. So this team is, you know, they'll continue to get better as far as making their passes and completing those passes. And not, you know, taking for granted things and just throwing it out there. They won't do that anymore. Well, I wouldn't say anymore, but too much more often. Coach Billups was never that type of guard when he played. Now, when he was a young guard, he might have did that, but in his championship days, he was always disciplined and under control. And the team will learn to do that, as we see Drew hugging his old coach. And I'm sure Coach Pop is proud of the way Drew was playing, man. Drew was playing faster. I noticed when he came back from his injury, he looked a little winded. Especially that first game back, he was tired. But we see Nurk getting in better shape. As far as, being able to get up and down the court, better lateral movement, recovery speed, and getting up to challenge shots, So obviously the better shape Nurk gets into, the better ability he'll be able to challenge shots. And we've seen him do that in the past few games. We've seen Nurk do a great job challenging shots. You know what I'm saying? We know what Drew has been doing all season as far as changing and challenging shots. So that's going to add to what the team is capable of doing defensively. And as guys get a little, especially when Gary Payton gets back in the mix, and I don't just mean just with him being out there, but I mean just with guys playing with him night in and night out, seeing the little things that he does, especially alongside of Josh Hart, who has a motor. He might not be a lockdown defender. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But he has a motor. A lot of times being a good defender is just staying in front, and not giving up, not conceding. Even if you don't stay in front, fighting back, you know what I'm saying? Recovering. Josh Hart does that well. Very well, So having him and Gary Payton out there together is going to push the other guys, and guys will start to even, you'll see more anticipation or better anticipation when it comes to getting those steals, those fast breaks, and you're going to see some highlight plays from this ball club. And it's going to be nice. It's going to be exciting to watch. So those are things to look forward to, as you can see, even when the Spurs were trying to fight back in the game, the ball club had an answer every time. What I mentioned before, keep that foot on the neck. That's what you want to do. You got to keep them down. You can't. It's the NBA, man. You give guys a glimmer of hope, they're gonna take it, and some of them gonna break it wide open. And next thing you know, you'll have a situation where you're going into overtime, or now you done lost the game, as we saw with the Clippers. And I can't remember the name of the team, the most recent one. That was just a pure collapse, though, and that was just, and that's something that the team obviously learned from, which is why you're seeing what you're seeing now. That was a collapse. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to see that. The young guys are learning, understanding what's expected for 48 minutes. All the way until the last buzzer. And we just can't let teams come back like that. We can't allow them to do that, and the teams will get better. You know what I mean? Like, as far as the competition, we're going to be playing against some tougher teams. So we definitely got to get ready and make sure that we're not allowing, or at least, really making it hard for some of these better teams to get back in the game when we have the lead. Because we're going to have the lead if we're knocking down our shots, playing fast, decisive, and strong the way we're capable of. We're going to get the lead, guys. And it's just a matter of, are we going to hold it? Is that defense? You know what I'm saying? As far as the turnovers, because we're probably going to have some turnovers. So we really need our defense to lock in. You know what I'm saying? Before I get out of here, Shaedon Sharpe did a good job. I noticed he was a little frustrated with some of the calls, but I thought he was giving good effort. He was moving really good, really fast. He was doing good, I thought, on defense. So sometimes when you're moving the way he was moving, it's going to look how it looks, and you might get a couple calls, but keep it up. Good job, young fella. That's pretty good. We'll take that, that effort, that type of motor on the defensive end is going to be needed. And we see what you're doing on the offensive end. So shout out to Shaedon Sharpe. My goodness. Dame had another one, Ant, I don't even want to call him Robin, Batman and Robin. Ant is just, man, goodness. So that's just the backcourt, So I don't want to forget Jeremy Grant, and how well he continues to play. He does a really good job of you can see, I'm watching him playing, and he's doing a better job of spacing himself out, finding those areas, where he can be effective off the ball. And it's paying off. You know, it looks really, really good, you know, and again, we're not even at the All-Star break. So there's no reason to think that it's not going to get better, you know, and I'm pretty sure the coaching staff, Coach Billups, the front office, they have an expectation that it will get better. You know, this team is still growing. So shout out to them for another victory, doing and learning and getting better while doing it. Good job. I'm really looking forward to this next game against the Mavericks. We don't necessarily have the matchup advantage against them as we do against a lot of other teams, but we definitely we both match up with each other well. So I definitely want to see. We should have the advantage on the inside here and there if we're able to utilize it. And I say that because we'll be so focused on dealing with Luka. Because last time Luka just carved us up, and then Spencer Dinwiddie took it from there. But I'm looking forward to seeing how we respond. Thank you guys for joining me. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right.